Hello, my name is Constance Chapman and I welcome you to this video. I'm a self-taught painter, I'm a writer, and I'm a spiritual coach. So I just want to tell you, I'll go back to tell you a little more about myself, but I wanted to tell you why I sprayed the canvas in the very beginning, and it's because it helps the paint move. What I'm doing right now is I'm putting on what's called a base coat or the bottom layer. And so I'm just playing. The whole point is just to allow the paint to cover the canvas in whatever way. Last week I had some news that my left eye is not happy right now, and it's needing some love. So as I've started to just let my brush move on the canvas, I found myself just painting eyes, just painting the outline of an eye over and over again, because that left eye needs some love. Um, and now I'm spraying it again because that helps the paint move and it makes some interesting changes. So one of the things that I found and one of the things I love about, um, oh, I'll tell you this first. I'm using a different color green just because it gets some contrast on the canvas. And even though this is probably all going to get covered up in the end, the contrast is interesting and great. So I started painting when I was in my 30s, and I loved it, and I just couldn't allow myself to do it because my inner critic was so loud that it felt like nothing was good enough. I was writing poetry, I was painting, um, and just exploring that aspect of myself. I'd lived pretty much in my head from that earlier from before that. I'd been in a PhD program and um, just started to do something totally different, and I couldn't enjoy it because of that inner critic. And it wasn't until the pandemic. It was something in the pandemic. There was this inner voice that just said to me, "Hey, Constance, it's acrylic. You can paint over it." And with those little words, what happened is that everything shifted. It gave my critic a place to go rest, because it wasn't like we were trying to make it perfect the first time, because we could paint over it. And so uh, that was that was huge. And so what I've always found with painting is that it's really helped me access my inner world and my inner wisdom. So that's what I do now is I work with other women using painting and meditation and spiritual truths to really get back in touch with that inner wisdom, that inner truth that's always been there, that's never gone anywhere. And I'm just going to take an aside now and tell you what I'm doing with this paint. Um, the This was the earlier paint, the buff green that I was using, and it's towards the end of the bottle, and it gets thick sometimes. So in order to get the most out of it, I spray a little paint inside the bottle. You'll see me shake it up in a minute, and then I'm going to be able to entice the bottle to give up what what's left of that paint so that I can use it. As paint is not it's not inexpensive, and so I really like to use it all up and to make use of it. So that's what I do with women is I help women come back in touch with their own creativity, with their own inner wisdom, um, and and we do that in community. I do it in a small membership group called the Deepening, and so if you're interested, you could let me know, and I can let you know when that membership is opening up. If you want to know more, you can let me know. Um, so what I'm doing now is, just I said, it's just a matter at this point of just covering the canvas with paint. So what I did was that when I got that buff to come out, I put it on top of what was left of that other green. And so now this is a mixture of the two going on, just sort of filling in the blanks, filling in the places that are still not filled in. So, so that's what I'm doing, and I like to. And sometimes one of the things that I find that's really interesting about this undercoating is that there, on more than one occasion, I think I know what I'm going to paint, and the undercoating, there's something that shows up in the undercoating that tells me that there's something new to paint, something different to paint. There was one time when I was doing an online class, and in the underpainting, these two ears showed up that looked like Mickey Mouse ears. And I was painting a face, and um, I just sort of thought it was so weird, and I just ignored it for the longest time. And then finally, I just thought, no, just let those ears be on the face. And so I did it, and I got goosebumps all over again, all over me, because that painting was telling me that those ears needed to be there, and it was just a matter of me listening and then paying attention. So what I did was I went back and I got the first brush I was using because it had more of the buff on it. And you can see I'm going back and forth between the two brushes to get different shades of green on this canvas. So that's happened to me more than once uh, where something shows up on the underpainting that then helps me make the whole painting. So I don't know if that's going to happen with this one or not. It's always sort of a mystery. So now I'm actually spraying it again because what this is going to do, and I don't know whether you'll be able to see it very well, but it allows the paint to run, so it'll start to drip. And that makes really interesting, just makes a lot of interest, and that may show up in the final painting and it may not. But it's still interesting. But if you're going to do this, just pay attention to what you have underneath your easel, because the paint will drip off the canvas. So you don't want to you want to make sure you have something that's going to catch it and not ruin any flooring that you have down there. So I'm just looking to make sure that I've done what I need to do, that it's all that it's covered and it's done. So see you later.